From the darkest recesses of an architect's fever dream comes a port of one of the more unique arcade titles from the 80s. The aim is to skillfully control this marble to the end goal of increasingly tricky obstacle courses. The stages are laid out in a three-dimensional isometric style. There are plenty of opportunities to smash your marble to bits by dropping it from too high a height or off one of the sides into oblivion. It'll always respawn where you lost it, but this takes a few seconds and the time limit is pretty strict. The quicker you beat a stage, the more time you'll have to carry over to the next one, so you need to make haste even on the easier levels. There are these things that look like slinkies but are a kind of leech that eats your ball, and patches of ooze that slither about that you need to avoid. The first thing to get used to is the gravity. Your ball gathers speed pretty quickly when going downhill, and correcting its motion takes a great deal of precision and skill. It's quite impressive how responsive the controls are. It's certainly not easy, but you never feel conned because of bad controls. The original arcade version used a trackball to control the marble, giving a full 360-degree directional movement. Obviously, the home ports, of which there are many, use a D-pad for the most part, but the feeling was usually replicated well. You can choose between 45-degree or 90-degree controls. The 45-degree one requires you to push down to move the marble diagonally down and to the left, leaving right to move you diagonally down and to the right. I can never get my head around this scheme for isometric games because the levels are laid out diagonally, but you don't press the arrows diagonally to move it that way. Not a fan at all, but different strokes and all that. Choosing 90 degrees allows you to move left by pressing left, and so on. Sure, you'll be holding two directions a lot of the time, but you won't have to overcome that natural instinct of wanting to move in the direction you push. There are 5 levels in all, which loop until you eventually run out of time. They all go from the top corner down to the bottom, except the final stage, which runs the other way. Gravity's been reversed here as well, meaning the marble accelerates up the hills. The Game Boy version of Marble Madness is really rather good. I'm not massively au fait with how processor-hungry a game that looks like this is. Maybe it's not at all, but the system pulls off the isometric effect really well, and a game that had the potential to be hard to visualize actually looks great. The light and shade is more emphasized, which compensates for the lack of color while retaining the depth. The classic atmospheric soundtrack is done well. I've always got a strange The Adventures of Mark Twain vibe from the sound and aesthetics in Marble Madness. No idea why, and it's no different here. A faithful representation of a game that's always hard to beat, but is certainly unique, and is 100% skill-based from start to finish. It seems like something that should be easy, but it's really not. Not for me, at least. I don't know about you, but I'm such a klutz in this game, and it often leaves me feeling like there's something wrong with my basic motor functions. Thanks so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on the game down below, and if you can spare a second, give the review a quick thumbs up, it really helps out. Subscribe to the Portable Power Podcast for a new Game Boy review every day from Monday to Friday. Or alternately, new episodes of the podcast drop every Saturday and Sunday on whichever platform you get your pods. See you later on.